Hello there my friends, hope you all are having a fantastic day right now. So in this video, we are going to be talking about the input and output operations in Python. So let's get started. So we have already seen the output statement, which is the print statement. And in this video, we'll look at all the things that we can do with this print statement. So when you write print, then you see this syntax of the print statement, which says value, comma, sep. This is a parameter called sep, and end is equal to /n. You also see this file equals sys.std out, but for now we are only going to concentrate on value, sep, and end. So what do these parameters actually mean? So the first parameter which we saw was value, and this value actually refers to the values that we are going to be printing. For example, a message or a variable like we did in the last video and stuff like that. And when you want to print more than one value to the console, then the values are separated by commas. For example, let me have two variables now called greeting and name. So let me initialize this variable called greeting with a string, something like hello, what's up. So this is our greeting, and let the name be Chip, which is my name, and let us print these two variables, string variables called greeting and name. So now since we have two variables, in order to print them in a single print statement, we separate these two variables by using a comma. So greeting, comma, name. And now these two variables called greeting and name are our values. So these values are going to get printed to the terminal. So save this program and just run it. And now you should see this message getting printed called hello, what's up, Chip. So that is how we can print more than one value in a single print statement in Python. Now let's say we have to print an extra message between these two values, greeting and name, saying hello, what's up, my name is Chip. So my name is the string that we are going to include in between these two values, and the way we do that is quite straightforward. Just write my name is and comma. So this is a value in itself. This itself is a string and this is a value. So now we have three values: greeting, this string, and the variable name. And now if you run the program, you should now see this message getting printed called hello, what's up, my name is Chip. So that was quite straightforward. Okay, now that we know how to print multiple values to the terminal, we can now move on to look at the parameter called sep, which we saw earlier. So sep is short for separation. What does this mean? So this sep parameter is used to specify the separation between the multiple values that we are going to print. For example, now we are printing three values which are greeting, my name is, and name. So what if we wanted a comma to get printed between each value? So that time you need to specify the separation as comma. So by specifying this, we are asking Python to print a comma after printing each value. So after hello, what's up is printed, a comma is added, and after that the next value, which is my name is printed, and after that a comma is again printed, and in the end the name Chip is printed. So let's run this program and see for ourselves. So now as you can see on the screen, after hello, what's up, a comma has been printed, and after this string a comma has again been printed, and then name, the name Chip, has been printed. So that is what the sep parameter is used for. And now let us move forward and look at what the other parameter called end does. So end is another optional parameter which comes with the print statement, and it is used to specify the position of the cursor after printing all the values. By default, end is assigned with this escape sequence called /n. So what this /n means is that after we have finished with the printing of all these values, we are instructing the cursor to move to the next line. N stands for next line. If you include a print statement after the previous print statement, then this message gets printed in the next line. So let us just run this. So now you see that hi has been printed in the next line. So after the first print statement finished printing these values, the escape sequence which we included asked the cursor to move to the next line. So the cursor came to the next line and later it printed the message hi. So that's how it works. And this /n is the default value which end always has, but we can also specify a value that we require. For example, space, which means we are asking the cursor to stay on the same line but after leaving a space. So if you run this program now, you are bound to see this. So as you can see, after leaving a space, hi gets printed, which means after printing this message, the cursor left a space and waited for the next print statement and printed the next message. So that's how the end parameter of the print statement works in Python. So now that we have understood the three important parameters, value, sep, and end of the print statement, we can now move on to this particular concept called formatted output. So now if you see this right here, it looks very ugly. The code is not presentable. So in this scenario, formatted output comes to our rescue. Let's get started on this. So for using formatted output, we need to specify the keyword f. Including f inside the print statement indicates that this output is going to be formatted, something like the printf statement in the C language. So instead of treating our variables like greeting and name as separate values, we are going to club them all into a single value and print them as a whole. So in order to do that, let us first assume that we want to print the variable greeting first. So just open and close the curly braces, and inside these curly braces write your variable name, in this case greeting. And after greeting, let's say we want a comma, so comma, and now we want the string my name is, and now we want our name variable to get printed. So open and close curly braces and your name. So these curly braces are actually used to specify that you are printing the variable inside them. So when we encounter this, then it understands that it has got to print the value stored in greeting. And the same goes with name. And as you can see, all this is a single string and it looks very presentable and easy to understand. In order to have this kind of an arrangement, you need to include f at the beginning of your string. So now if you just run this, you will see this message. It has been printed as we wanted, and the code has also been made cleaner because of the formatted output. So now that we have understood how formatted output works, we can move on to another method called dot format, which can be used on strings. So let us say we want to be completely flexible with how we print our variable names. So if you are using the dot format method, then this f right here is not required because dot format lets the interpreter know that the output is going to be formatted output anyway. So let me actually write the full code. So let's delete these two. And so this is how you can access the format method for strings. So as you can see now, I have removed the variables inside these curly braces. We are going to include our variables inside this format function. Okay, so now you see this print statement right here, and it may feel weird to you at first, but let me tell you, it's a really easy and exciting concept. So what this basically is telling the interpreter is that when you encounter these empty curly braces for the first time, then print greeting. And when you encounter it for the second time, then print name. That's it. So it's helping us to format our output. If you see the order of our output, to be precise, if you run this code now, you should see the same message getting printed. So when it encountered the first set of empty curly braces, it printed greeting, which we specified first in our format function. And when it encountered the second set of empty curly braces, it printed the second variable which we specified in the format function. So that is how the format function helps us to control the order of output. Okay, so I guess that is enough talk on the print function, and now we can move on to our input function. So let me delete this print statement right here. Let us save these variables for now. So input is taking some data from the user, and input helps us to develop more interactive software with the users. Okay, so now the reason that I have saved these two variables called greeting and name is that instead of specifying it beforehand, it would be more interactive if we take these two as inputs from the user. So let us delete these two, and now we'll see how we can take the input from the user. So input is a function in Python which takes the input from the user, and as you can see here, prompt equals none. So the prompt is the message that you can display asking the user to input the value that you are looking for. So that is optional. Even if you don't have an input message, the compiler will wait for the user to give an input. So for now, let us just ask the user to input a greeting. So input a greeting, something like that. And when the user inputs some greeting like hello or something, that will be converted to a string and stored in this variable called greeting. The same goes for the variable name too. So input, let's have an input message saying what's your name. So here the reason why this has become white is because Python understood this quotation mark as the end of this message. So in order to change that, we'll change this to a double quotation mark, and this should work. So what's your name is going to take an input from the user, and the name is going to be stored in this variable called name. And now we can just print out the greeting and the name. And when you run this, you should first see this message saying input a greeting. So let us input a greeting saying hello, just hello. And if you hit on enter, it's now going to ask what's your name. Well, my name's Chip, so CHIP is my name, and enter. So hello Chip, a nice message printed to the screen, and that's it. That's how the input function works in Python and helps us to take any kind of input from the user. When we take input from the user through an input statement, then by default the data type of the input is a string. If you want to take a number as an input, then it is advisable that we use the int function that we discussed in the last video. So what this does is, this input right here gets the number from the user as a string, and later this string is passed into this function called int, and this int converts the string number into an integer. So that is how it works. That is all about the input statement, guys. There is also a bonus function which I would like to talk about here, and that is called the eval function. So eval function is a function which takes the input from the user in the form of a string and evaluates that string. For example, let me delete all this. Let us say expression equals, it's a string, so 5 plus 9, something like that. And let us just print eval of expression. And if you run this code, you should ideally see 14. And this is what the eval function actually does. It takes the input in the form of a string, converts the numbers into integers, and symbols like plus, minus and stuff into operators, and does the calculation. If you are not sure what operators are, then the next video is going to be on operators in Python. So I'll end the video here, guys. Stay tuned for the next video. Bye for now, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Wait, that's not all. If you like my content, smash like and hit the subscribe button in the middle, and also don't forget to hit that bell icon to get notified. If you want to watch my latest content, click on one of the videos here.